All right. So we'll like I said, before the recording, before I press record, we're gonna do a few problems. Now I have some numbers that I've already used and everything, so I'll use those. But just
Okay.
showing you what the problem is asking of you in number one, 4.1, number one. So it says recall the PE ratio is the ratio of the price per share to the earnings per share, including earnings from the past 4 quarters. Compute the PE ratio of the following companies. All right. So in this one, they say the share price is $11.48. Earnings per share is 58 cents. So like I said, I'm not gonna use those numbers. I'm just gonna
Right. Okay.
use some other numbers I have. I'll show you in a second. So let me go ahead and share. Uh, uh, that's not it. Here we go. 2.4. Forgot the name of the title section, so I'll come back to that. So
Financial literacy.
oh, is that financial what?
Literacy.
All right, thank you. And that's not how you spell financial. All right, so let's go 2.4.1. So share price for me was 15.71. Earnings per share 72 cents. And so one way we can look at this is as a ratio. And what we were trying to find is, let me go back to the problem where it goes. Compute, do you want the PE ratio? Okay. So if we're looking at price per share, we know the first one I just mentioned is 1571 to 0.72. And so we want to know what's the price per share for $1 earning per share. So what we can do is set it up this way. And as a ratio, a proportion, we can use the two ratios to set up a proportion, I should say it like that, in which I can do x over 1 is equal to 1571 over 0.72. So we basically, like I said, use this as one ratio and then use this as the other ratio. All right. And then divide 15.71 by 0.72. That's 21.8. Of course, x over 1 is just x. So that's it.
You know when they say round to the nearest number, something like that? That's my number on the right side of the decimal, right?
It depends. Yeah, most definitely. So
Okay.
you go to the place value that you're looking for. So this one said round to the nearest 10th.
Okay.
So let's say if the answer was 21807, I don't know,
Yeah.
8. So
Yeah.
this is the 10th place. You look to the right of that 10th place, and that will let you know whether you leave the 8 the same or if you round it up to a 9.
Okay.
So this one would give me 2.18 or 21.8. But if I had
Yeah.
2189, then I would round it up to 21.9.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to make sure because a couple of them, I started looking at every single thing that they were asking because a couple of them kept saying, reread the question or something. I was like, wait, what? And then I would
Mm-hmm.
go back and I was like, oh, it's the round to that number. You know what I mean? So just change
Mm-hmm.
that one thing. And yeah, so okay.
Yep. Because if you don't round it to the correct place, they will mark it wrong.
Right.
Okay, where did my Trying to share my screen again. There you go. All right. So the next one, the share price is 34.47. There are 1.8 billion shares, and the company made 2.7 billion in profit over the past 12 months. So first thing we'll do, let me close this one out. So that was for A. Did I put A? No, I didn't. That's A. And this one is B. So we're going to divide company profit by So first thing you'll do in B is divide the company profit by its number of shares. So I had $9.9 billion and then 2.2 billion.
Mm-hmm.
So this means all right, so this means the company's earnings is $4.50 per share. So before I go any further, make sure we're good with that.
Right.
And now we can do what we did in the last one, wherein you can just go ahead and just set it up this way. And that 29.71 came from B's problem. Let me make sure. Where did it go? Did I close it out? Are you serious?
I do it all the time when I have like 7 tabs open. I'm like, dang it. I have to go in. God.
Yeah, that sucks.
I know I'm the worst at the tabs, so it's okay.
So yeah, they gave you that share price in B. So this
Mhm.
time, let me go back to my share. So they gave me this. B will give you, that 29.71. We got a 4.50 from the 9.9 divided by 2.2, and that 29.71 would be as a part of B's questioning.
Right.
And then we go ahead and divide that out. X is equal to 6.6. 29.71 divided by 4.0. That's 4.5, excuse me.
Right.
All right, question before we look at C.
Mm-hmm.
You said where did 2971 come from?
Let me show you. Oh no, hold up. Get that out of here. All right. Why does it think hold on. Right here, see in this B, it says 35.09.
Oh, okay. I got
So it will give you, so in this case, we would have did 35.09.
you. Right. Okay. I got you.
All right. All right, so for C, it says the share price, 453.67 over each of the past 4 quarters. The company made 222, 166, 198, and 203. And remember, like I said, don't copy those numbers because I got my own numbers.
Right. Okay. I got you.
I already did my notes on, but just showing you how the problem is set up. All right. So let's go to the notes. I gotta share it first. All right. So the first thing we'll do is add. So add earnings per share for each quarter. So I had 1.93, 1.81, 64, 7. Okay, so I had 1.93, 1.81, 1.64, 2.47. So add them all up. And then we can set up that same proportion again when you're doing x over 1. And I had 448.98. And you place that over to 785. Add those out, 57.2. All right, questions before we look at the next one?
I think the next one is where I have a question.
All right, so let's see. Everybody good before we roll on?
I felt like these were a little bit easier, and then it just gets harder. Like, I felt like those were a little like dividing and all that stuff, but no, it's not this one. I think it's like 6 or 7.
All right, well, all right, so we'll get there. We'll get there. So it says the company XYZ closed at $45.82, yeah, per share, with a PE ratio of 13.62. Answer the following questions. How much were earnings per share? So let's go back to the notes. So this is 2.4.2. So earnings per share is going to be share price over PE ratio. So I have 54.12, 19.12. So mine's approximately 2.85. And that is A. How much were earnings per share? So that was A for us. All right. So now the next one, talking about B. All right. So does the stock seem overpriced, underpriced, or about right given the historical PE ratio that is 12 to 14? So that one's 13.62. Hold on to that for a second and we'll come back to it. But let's go back to our example. So since the 1912. Remember, we had 1912 as a PE ratio.
Right.
Since the 1912 is greater than, and I'm gonna put this because we had this whole thing, but it's greater than the 14. It is overpriced. All right. So now, if it was in between 12 to 14, it would have been right. What did it say? Did it say about right? What was the terminology to use? Yeah, about right. So if it was between 12 and 14, it would have been about right. If it was less than 12, then it would have been underpriced. So that's how you would do that. Yep. So in this last example, let's go back. This one has a PE ratio of 13.62. So we would have said that this one was about right because it's in between the 12 and 14. All right. Questions about that?
Nope.
All right. I think, let's see, 2.48. What's the next one? So this is the same thing, so that's why I didn't look at that one. That was just a conceptual question. I'll let you play with that. Here we go, 2.48. If it costs $16 to fill a gas tank in 2000, how much would it have cost to fill the same tank in 1970? All right, so let's go to the notes. So we're going to use all right, so I didn't do good notes on this. Okay, so I'll just go and do the one that we have. So we're going to use the price as a percentage and then multiply it by the cost. So let's go back to the share. So we're looking at if it costs $16 to fill a gas tank in 2000, how much would it have cost to fill that same gas tank in 1970? So we go to 1970, we see 23.1%. Convert that to a decimal. We'll multiply that times 16. So it costs $3.70. All right. Questions on that?
Yeah. I think it's the next one I have a question on.
All right. Hold on.
Stop.
All right. All right. So what's the next one? 210.
Oh yeah. This
All
one.
right.
Stressing
So
me
we
out. I'm
want
like, what the
to.
heck am I doing wrong?
Oh, well, in this case, well, I'll just start from the beginning. I can see. Suppose you
Yeah.
needed $16,000 to
Right.
maintain a particular standard of living in 1974. How much would you have needed in 2000 to maintain the same standard of living? Suppose, not to suppose, assume that all prices have risen the same rate as CPI. All right. So before we go there, I'm going to write, we'll go to the notes. This is 2.4.10. Yep. So what we need to do is set up a proportion once again. We're going to do price and X is going to represent the year, whatever year
Right.
you're talking about. And that's going to be over price and Y, which also, like I said before, represents a year. Then we're going to do CPI in X and CPI of Y. So if we set up that
Okay.
proportion, we'll be able to solve. Did you say something?
No, I was just walking through it with you because I was like stuck on those two. I was like, dang, what am I missing? So it looked like I'm already missing one step, I think. So let's just keep it rolling.
All right. So let's go ahead and do this one just to match it up so we can see. So we're looking at we're at 74 and 2000. So you suppose you need $16,000 to maintain the standard of living in 1974. So the price in 1974 that we used was 16,000. We need $16,000 in 1974. So $16,000. Let me go back to my notes. Trying to keep this thing. Let's call X 1974. And then we'll call Y, what was our other year? 2000. All right. So now the price in 1974 was 16,000. That same price or the equivalent price in 2000 is what we don't know. If we want to call it X, let's just call it, we can just call it price P because we already got X and Y involved. Now we need to get the CPI from the chart for 1974 and the CPI for 2000. I just don't understand why the screen or the share doesn't want to see this assignment. Okay, so 1974 is 49.3. And in 2000 is 172.2. All right, questions before we go to solve.
So far, so good.
All right. So we set them up like I mentioned. That's going to be 16,000 over P equal to 49.3 over 172.2. Now, whenever we have our proportion, we can cross multiply. We didn't have to do this last time because remember our denominator was 1 over here under the X, so it wasn't that big a deal.
Right. And if it is 1, then you don't technically need to worry about it as much because it just cancels it out.
Right, because X over 1 is just X.
Right.
All right, where's my calculator? My cousin just said Europe's shut down for a second time, so it means we need to go buy toilet paper again.
What? You're lying. Is this a joke?
No, well, that's what my cousin said. So normally he don't come out the blue with stuff like that. So.
Well, that's so weird. We were talking about all that stuff, and then.
Right. So.
Well, looks like I'll stay inside some more. Like, the heck? My God, dude.
Right. Because, I'm just looking at my phone to use my calculator, and then that's when you just hit me with a message. So. So 16,000 times that 172.2. And make sure I'm good with my numbers. Yep. 172.2 is 2,755,200. Now we have 49.3p. We want to divide by 49.3. And P is going to be equal to 886. And let me see what they ask us to round to. Nearest dollar.
Yeah, that's where it kind of.
So that's what I have. But if you say nearest dollar is the 6.
Yeah.
So we don't need the cent.
Okay.
That's it.
We don't need a decimal or anything. We can just. Now, does it matter what you divide first? Like, if I want to divide 72.6 over 184, does it matter? Like, the bigger number needs to be on top.
I said, let me go back. You're talking
like,
about.
Typically, does it matter? You know what I
mean? You're talking about here for this proportion?
Yeah. Or that, or anyone that you work on. Like, does it matter what goes on top, what goes on bottom if you just divide them?
No, you just need to stay consistent with your X and Y. So in other words, these need to match up. That's 1974 information. This is 2000 information. You see what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, so when you set up your proportions, you just have to be consistent and say, okay, if I'm putting 1974 on top, let me do that. Give me that back. Yeah. If I'm putting 1974 on top here, then I need to put 1974 on top on this other proportion. And then that means 2000 will be on the bottom on the other proportion as well. Okay. So you could have decided to put 2000 on top in both cases, but whatever you do, you just have to stay consistent.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Questions.
And I think it's just throwing me off because I'm dealing with a 1 right now. A 1 over P, you know what I mean?
1 over P?
Well, yeah, that's like
what are you saying that you have?
So I have well, I don't know if it's probably everybody else has a homework as well, but the year is 1979, and then the CPI for that is 7.26, and then the year for 2003 is CPI 184.0, and then it starts off saying just $1. What is the purchase? Oh, just $1. So I'm like, okay, 1 over P then.
So okay, that dollar is for 1979 or
yeah, that's what it's looking like. Yeah, it says what is the purchasing power of $1 in 1979 in terms of 2003 dollars? So I'm like, what?
Yeah, not a problem. So you stay consistent with what you want to do. Either you're gonna put 1979 stuff on top or 2003 stuff on top. So let's go with 1979 over 2003. Once again, doesn't matter. That's just me going that way. So you got this over this.
Yeah, and
then 1 over P. Now, you say you have 1 over P. What's going on? You can handle this one of two ways. You can just go ahead and cross multiply.
Okay.
Right, just like we finished doing. Or
I'll call you back.
Or if you want it, you can flip both fractions. Remember I told you that was an option anyway.
Yeah. Oh.
And then that's just going to be P.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is divide. Whatever that divide out to be.
Okay, yeah, that's what I did.
If you were to cross multiply, you're still going to get the same result.
Okay.
You know, because if you cross multiply, you're talking about 7.26 p equal to 184.0.
Right.
Then you're going to divide by the 7.26,
Oh, and I
which
can't.
is still that.
Yeah. 20,
Yeah,
all
yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah.
And then,
So,
but when you get your number though, and it says round to the nearest dollar, which I think, or no, mine's round to the nearest cent, but never mind. So when
yeah,
I
got to
have
watch
that,
that.
yeah, when I have to watch those because that little last piece of information. So when it says round to the nearest cent, I would look on the right of my decimal
Okay, so let's
and I
do
would
that.
round up, right? I just
So
want to
if I
make
have
sure.
1, 2,
I'm
3.456, so round to the nearest dollar is here. Round to the nearest
oh,
cent is here.
I'm writing this down because that's where I get messed up, I
hmm
think.
So
Then
this is the nearest dollar. This is the nearest cent. So if I was
okay,
rounding to the nearest dollar,
then you would go up
then
one
I
and
would
it'd be
go, this would be
right?
123. Because remember, if you're going to round, the value to the right has to be 5 or greater if you're going to round it up.
Okay. Dang, it's
So
been
if
a
I'm
minute.
round,
Okay.
it's all good.
Okay.
So
But
if I'm rounding to the nearest dollar, I'm looking at the 3 and so, okay, right to the right of 3 is 4. Since the 4 is less than 5, the 3 stays the same. So it's just 123. And then, so if I'm rounding to the nearest cent, I'm looking at now that 5 because, is, 2
Mhm.
cents. Not 2 cents,
Right.
2 decimal places to make up your
Mhm.
cents. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the 5 is going to go up to 6 because of this 6 to the right of it. So if it's 5, or if the value to the right of your place value is 5 or greater, you will round it up. If it's less than 5, then it stays the same.
Got it.
All
Okay. Okay.
right.
Okay.
So let's see. Let me go back to 215. Guess we can do one more like that. It's pretty much purchasing power of $1. Yeah, you're looking at number 16. All right, so we'll do one more like that. It seems like a lot of them, they pretty much just flow like that. So we'll
Yeah.
do, yeah. So we'll do one more. And then, as always, I'll let you guys get to work on that. And then if you have questions, you can always hit me up. So let's look at 2.4, number 50, 2.415. I think it's number 7 in your stuff though, in your assignment. So suppose admission to a movie ticket or to a movie costs $8.50 in 2007. What was its price in 1990?
Yeah.
So 2007, 850. So 850, 1990. We don't know. Then CPI. All right, so let me go back. CPI for, we said 1990 is 130.7. And then CPI for 2007 is 207.3. All right, so that's where we're at. We
Okay.
have 2007, $8.50 is how much it costs to get into the movies. The CPI, remember we get that CPI from the chart, is 207.3. 1990, we want to know how much it costs 1990. So that's going to be our variable. And our CPI is 130.7 in 1990. All right. right, so take 2007 information, place it over 1990 information. And there are a couple of other ways to set up these proportions. I'm just giving you a simple way of thinking about it. So 850 over P equal to 207.3, 130.7. Problems, questions, concerns. All right, cross multiply. All right. So that 850, 8.50 times 130. Oh no. 37. All right. Divide by 207.3. 0.36. Yep. Total us to round to the nearest cent. So it's $5.36.
Okay.
And just in case you wanted to know, that was actually 5.35914.
Okay. Okay.
All right, questions? Any questions, concerns, comments, anything, anybody?
Nope.
Need to get.
All right, sounds good, sounds good. So with that being said, notice that means that we are done with lecturing about chapter 2.
Right.
So most definitely make sure you guys, attack these assignments. Once again, even if you're still working on your Excel, trying to get access to Excel and doing your Excel, at least go do the homework parts. The one, like the stuff that, we're talking about lecturing on, at least go do those. So at least they're out of the way, and that's one less thing you have to worry about.
Yeah, because it's too much work when you wait. Like you're like, yo,
Right,
don't
right,
wait. You're
right.
like, wait. What? So,
Exactly. So at least you can have that under your belt
yeah.
and be ready to move on to other things.
Right.
Also, let me re-emphasize this. I keep pushing all these wrong buttons. Don't forget that in between, all you have to do is one Excel assignment
Right.
in between each homework. And you can do more if you want extra credit,
Right.
but that's all you guys have to do.
All right.
Good to know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So yeah, make sure that, so let me go back here. I keep having to share all these different screens. So just in case, just in case you guys hadn't seen it. So you see we have 1.1 homework functions. That's right here. Then we have 1.2 homework analytics. So in between those two assignments, there are 3 Excel assignments. You only have to do one of those. Same thing here, 1.2. And then we have, where is it? Right. Okay, it's only one assignment between 1.1 and 1.2, 1.3. So you only have one there. But to be honest, let's say if you fall short there, I already gave you the opportunity that you can do extra credit. You can do an extra assignment somewhere else to replace it. You know what I mean? So I'm giving
Yeah.
you flexibility to be
Yeah.
able to do these assignments, but what I'm requiring is just one assignment or one Excel assignment in between your homework. So here you have 1.3 homework, and then you have this review that you have to do. So there are 3 Excel assignments in between there. Do at least one of them.
Mhm.
All right, so there's at least one Excel assignment in between each one of your actual My Math Lab assignments.
Cool.
Okay.
Hopefully my mouse will get to working today, and that'll be the last thing I need to focus on. Like, working. I don't know why it's so many problems. I don't know why. You'd think that Excel would work universally, but it's just like an
Yeah,
issue,
yeah, you would. But you
right?
know, this whole economy wants you to spend money, so they're gonna figure out a way.
I know. Like, my God, dude, looking after the other.
Yeah, hate to say it that way, but that's what it seems like.
No, I know. That's why I was like, dude, I'm just gonna buy this mouse. Like, whatever. It's like you don't have a choice. You don't have, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Professor Tucker.
Yep.
After like everyone leaves, or it doesn't matter if everyone leaves, I just need like a little bit more help. So should I email you?
No, you can stay back.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem. So with that being said, that's 2.4.
Right.
And I'm not going to do anything else new today. Next class, we'll look to get into 3.1. But outside of
Okay.
that, it'll be on you guys to, get with me on problems. Once again, I've been doing Zoom sessions with people individually.
Right.
Just like you would come into the office hour, it's the same type of thing, same type of deal. So if you need time outside of, the end of class or something like that, feel free to email me and we can meet up. All right. So if you have any questions, feel free to stay back. If not, I will see you guys on next class.
Wednesday.
All right. You have a good one.
Sounds
See you
good.
Wednesday.
Bye, guys. Have a good day.
All right.
Take
See
care,
y'all
take care.
Wednesday.
You too.
So I will stop the recording.